Hi Joseph, thank you for coming in today. How are you?
Oh yeah, been better.
Mm. Well, did you have any trouble getting here?
No,
Oh,
it's
good.
easy enough.
Now, Joseph, first of all, I wanted to ask you, have you gone to counselling before?
Um, oh, at school, not much help, but you know,
So you didn't find them very helpful?
no, well they couldn't stop what was going on there, so yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so Reese reckons you might be able to help with anxiety and just the shit that's going on in my life.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd like to hear more about that, but before we do, there's a few things I need to go over. This is a private and comfortable space. It's safe. Anything you say to me is confidential. However, as you're speaking, I will be taking notes, and that's just to make sure that we're on the same page. And so, if we continue sessions, I can remember exactly what we sort of talked about,
Yeah.
and how we'll go forward. However, there's a few times that I might have to actually break that, and that's only if I felt that you were at risk of harm to yourself or
Yeah.
others, or possibly children. In those kind of cases, I'd have to speak to someone else. But before I did that, I would speak to you. How do you feel about that?
That's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone knows everything in this country town anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, Joseph. So, what did bring you in here today? You mentioned rings. What?
Look, I came out as gay when I was a teenager, like at school, got, bullied and called names and all sorts of shit for years, and country towns, you can't escape anything, and so I'm okay with being gay, I really am, but I'm not coping living in a place and dealing with the implications for family and stuff, and I don't know, I get really anxious and I feel like I'm really trapped.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so can I ask first of all, what's been happening in your country town when you say everyone knows everything and everyone's...
Well, being gay in a country town isn't much chop, My father's just embarrassed and humiliated probably, and he was raised in a real strict religious family, so he got really shitty when I came out, and doesn't want me to rub it in people's faces, wants me to take over the farm. I'm not interested, but I'm doing it anyway.
So it sounds like you're feeling a bit stuck, a bit trapped. Is that right?
Yeah, really stuck. My sisters are copping it. I've got twin sisters. They're younger than me, and one of them come home crying the other day, embarrassed, and she doesn't understand either. Why people are so mean, and she's got nothing to do with me being gay.
Mm-hmm. So your sisters, they don't have a problem with it. Is that what you're saying?
No, but they're copping it just because they're related to me.
So, Joseph, I'm sort of hearing that you've been bullied at school, and now you're at TAFE, and your sisters are now getting bullied because of...
Well, they're not getting bullied, but like they're having to cop other people's attitude towards me, And even at TAFE, like, had to do a presentation the other day, and you could hear them sniggering at the back of the classroom, and like, I wish they'd just get over themselves. Like, I'm feeling actually, I was just building up confidence at TAFE because it was different than high school, and then they're so small-minded here.
So, Joseph, can I ask you moved from high school to TAFE? Why was that?
I finished school.
Right.
I had to do something at TAFE. My father wanted me to do agriculture, to take over the farm. It's not something I'm interested in at all, but it's, I'm just doing it, keep mum happy, really.
Right. So, is she supportive?
Well, yes and no. Yeah, she is, but pretty much I just can't talk about it.
Mm.
You know, I've got to keep it under wraps, pretend it's not something that, you know, basically it's not anything that's anybody's interested in. So which means I can't even talk about my life.
Right. So I'm assuming you're sort of feeling a bit dismissed there, like you can't be yourself.
Yeah, and really anxious now, like, and I don't know if I'm depressed or not, but I just feel like I'm really stuck and, you know, between a rock and a hard place, and it takes me a long time to calm down now when I get really upset, and I know it's affected my confidence. And I met this guy online called Reese, and he's the one that sent me here. You know, I really want to go to the city and meet him in person,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't even know whether that's going to work or not.
Right. Okay, so can I ask Reese, how did you meet? So you met him online, you said, is that right?
Yeah, on a dating app.
On a dating app, right. And how long have you been in contact with Reese?
A couple of months.
Right. And he sounds like he's more supportive.
Yeah, he's older, he's out, he had gay parents, and so he's sort of been raised where everything's cool, you know. He actually runs LGBTI events and festivals and stuff.
Okay.
So different than me.
Yeah, exactly. Very different. So have you got any, so you've been speaking to him for a couple of months, are there any plans to actually move past just the dating app with Reese?
I want to go and meet him in person. Like, I would love more than anything to do that.
Right. And that would be existing. I suppose what I want to know is, have you got any existing support networks at the moment where you are? Anyone that sort of does understand at all, or?
Look, there's a couple of people in town, like they're fine to hang out with, but it's not anybody that I really, would share my world with, share my feelings or thoughts and stuff with. But yeah, if I want to go to the pub and have a beer, I can. But then it's the whole thing of, do I walk into a place where I know everybody's looking at me and talking behind my back?
Mm. Yeah. Mm. So it sounds like you're talking about Reese and you want to go and visit him, and you're not having much fun at TAFE in terms of it's not something you want to be doing. What are you studying at TAFE, by the way?
Agriculture.
Right. And you're saying that you're not really interested in it, is that right?
No, I'm only doing it because Dad, he's like, he doesn't want to talk about anything else. He just wants me to take over the farm, and I'm his only son, and, old school thinking.
That's not something that you're sort of interested in doing,
No,
is that right?
not at all.
Right.
But I'll do it, I don't want to, I love my family, I don't want to get them offside, but I'm not living my life.
Yeah. Not living your authentic life that you want to be.
Yeah.
Mm. And you're of age, so therefore you've got every right to live your life however you want to do
Yeah,
that.
and if I don't do something soon, I just feel like I'll be trapped here forever.
Mm. So if we can sort of boil it down a bit, what are your main priorities?
I want to see Reese. I want to meet him in person. I want to go to the city and at least, feel free to express myself, even if it's just at an event or something. He's older, he knows the place. I just want to see what it's like and feel what it's like to be around people who don't have an issue with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. So, Joseph, can I ask, what's stopping you from seeing Reese? You've known for a few months, he's invited you into his very accepting world, it sounds like.
Every time I think about it, I get really anxious about, am I going to be accepted there? Like, what do I tell people like family and stuff here if I go away, and then I come back from somewhere and I can't even talk about, if I've had fun or who I've met, or because nobody's interested.
Right. So it sounds like there's a few what ifs in there, sort of trying to look at the future without knowing until you've experienced it, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you're stuck, then we have to sort of find a way to get you unstuck. Does that sort of make it sense?
I just don't know. Yeah. Like, yeah, I can get on a train and go, but I don't really know I don't know that version of me around other people, All I know is what everybody keeps projecting onto me and says, well, this is, all the slander and all the narrow-minded crap here. How do I know what I'm going to be like when I go and meet him?
I really like the way you phrased how that version of me.
Yeah.
That's a great way of looking at it, I suppose, because we do have different versions of ourselves, don't we, depending on our environment.
I mean, sexuality isn't my only,
Yeah.
I'm no different than anybody else, but nobody else wants to get to know me
Mm-hmm.
or lets me share about my world
Mm-hmm.
because they think it's so weird or
Mm.
so disgusting or they're scared, as if I'm going to be after them.
And you wouldn't be the only person in the country that has a similar sexual orientation to yourself.
No, I'm sure there's plenty of closeted gays out here,
Mm.
but no one's game enough to, say anything.
Mm. Well, look, I really applaud your honesty so far, and I think you've got a lot of insight into yourself, and I think your understanding of others is quite impressive. But we're looking at how we get to your priorities, how we get you to what you said, getting to the city and taking that step. And maybe if we look at breaking it down into sort of baby steps, as in, do you know what I mean, without looking at that big jump. Is there anything you can sort of think of that might help you break that down?
I want to know that when if I go away for a weekend or a week or whatever, that when I come back, I'm not going to have to deal with shit from my father, and that, and I can see that Mum gets upset, and she's probably just scared for me, but I want to be able to talk about my weekend, not about, who I slept with or anything, but just about my weekend,
So there's a fear of rejection when you come back, and there's also a fear that you've got to be completely honest with everything that's happened, and with keeping within your own boundaries, as you said, without having to explain things like who you slept with and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who anybody else sleeps with, but if I just want to have a chance to be myself. And I don't even know what it's going to take to do that, but I want to try.
Well, I'm hearing correctly, I hope, that it's none of their business really what goes on and where you do it. The fact is that you should be allowed to do exactly what you want to do. So you are worried about when you're coming back being judged. But maybe we look at getting you there first and then look at how you might come back.
And I really want Reese to I don't want him to feel like he's got this country bumpkin, kid to look after. I just want to be able to, show him that I can do this too. I want to show myself that I can do this.
Is there, if you don't mind me asking, Joseph, is there any evidence you've found so far that you're going to be judged by Reese when you get there?
No, but he's got a total different upbringing, and he's older, he's confident. I don't know. I want to be able to get there under my own steam and feel independent and be able to cope, which I'm sure I will, but then I get anxious and I get myself so worked up that it's hard to just start, you know.
So it sounds like the anxiety is playing a big role here.
Yeah. And I was never like that as a kid or anything. Like I could go out and start new things all the time. It's only because, yeah. And now at TAFE, because I'm surrounded by people who are still carrying on like freaking school kids.
I mean, that's it. I was just saying wonderful before because, you know, being such a confident child, and then circumstances being what they are. Of course, it's going to give anyone a blow to their self-esteem and therefore bring on anxiety.
Yeah.
No one wants to be judged.
No.
Everyone's got the right to be not judged, and everyone's got a right to be accepted, and everyone's got a right to make their own decisions. Autonomy, if you like. So, am I hearing this right? So you really do want to see Reese?
Yeah.
You're a little bit worried about getting judged by him, though?
Well, I just don't want him to think that I can't cope, you know, which, you know, he sent me to you, so he sort of, I know he just wants to make sure I'm okay, but this before I even get a chance to meet him. And I know that he said that, you know, there's lots of teenagers who cop crap when, you know, they come out and they need support and that there's places around, but I don't know any of them, you know.
But he would.
Yeah.
Joseph, do you think by any chance you could start feeling this out with Reese and possibly start bouncing off little ideas after saying you have to take contact with a counsellor? So you've made that step. Could you maybe broach those kind of issues with him, do you think, just to see if that would help lessen your anxiety?
I suppose so.
Would you feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah. Like, he's a great listener and everything. Like, he's not, like, he's really open about everything, which is what I love. And I do feel, you know, it's fine to talk online. I just don't know once I'm there, like if I'm, because I don't know anybody else there, you know, as part of the community there, part of the gay and lesbian community there.
So you mean you don't know anyone in the city? There's no backup?
Oh, I've got a cousin who lives there.
Oh.
Haven't seen her for years.
Yep.
I only ever see her at, like, you know, weddings and stuff like that. But she lives there.
And do you get along with her when you have seen her?
Yeah, she was fine.
Yep.
I think she's a year older than me or something like that. Yeah.
And she grew up in the city, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you think she might be a little bit more open-minded, coming from the city and not the country like you're talking about?
Probably. But again, you know, my father's never, well, it's all been so hushed under the carpet. Like my extended family knows about me, but it's never up for discussion. And Dad's always, you know, don't bother him with it. Don't talk about it openly. But they know. She knows. And yeah, she's probably a lot more open-minded. She's just not somebody that I've had much to do with in the last couple of years, you know.
And you used that word projecting earlier on. So could it be possibly, and I'm just wondering here, because your father's got his attitude of don't bother other people, don't bother the extended family, that you're worried that he's projecting that onto people that he wouldn't know how they feel about it at the end of the day.
Yeah, he'd have no bloody idea. That's my cousin's from Mum's side of the family anyway, not even from his side. So, and she seems to be okay, but she just doesn't say much, and she just sort of hushes me a bit if I say anything in front of Dad.
Do you think she's protecting you a bit by doing that?
Yeah.
Right.
And herself. Because, you know, if she stands up for me, then she'll cop his attitude.
She'll cop it too. Well, Joseph, I'm just wondering, maybe do you think visiting your cousin could be a baby step, a stepping stone, so that when you get to this, if you're going to see her, when you got to the city, it's not like you're going straight to Reese, or even if things don't work out with Reese, you'd come back to your cousin. And I'm not talking about going that far ahead. I'm just saying, just thinking about maybe visiting your cousin first so you can get a feel for the city, and then making your decisions beyond that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got her on Instagram. I could stalk her for a bit and see what she's like, see what sort of posts and whatnot she puts up, and see how open-minded she is.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel if you went to visit her, you'd have to be open with her about your sexual orientation?
No, she won't care.
Oh.
Like I'm just in the city. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can, if I suss out what she's like now, she can, and who she hangs out with, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'll suss her out.
That sounds like a good idea. Because that would give you the idea of being able to go and visit your cousin, and you were saying before that you're worried about what do you say when you come back. Do you have any problem personally, but I mean, as I said, you're of age, with just coming back and saying, I went to the city, you just go, my cousin, and then whatever. I
wonder if Mum wants to see her sister.
Sorry?
I wonder if Mum wants to see her sister, my cousin's mum.
And why are you wondering that, Joe?
Then I might be able to get Mum to come to the city with me, and then I'll go off for visiting Reese while she's with my auntie.
I congratulate you on that. I think that's really good thinking. That's really thinking outside the box.
I'll see. I don't even know where. I have to see where they live and how far away they are.
Of course. Yeah. Do you think your mother would be up to a trip to the city?
Mum wants me to, to live my life, but I just, both our hands are tied a bit where we are, so I don't know, I'll suss it out. I'll find out from her what I don't know, maybe.
It could be a liberating, a freeing experience for both you and your mother.
Yeah.
It could be a bonding experience even.
Yeah.
We don't know until we try.
If I take her somewhere, then at least Dad doesn't have to carry on.
As you said, he's come from a very conservative religious background, whereas your mum's looking after her son.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. So then visiting Reese, what would you envision as to be your perfect outcome, or idealistic outcome?
I'd love to go to one of the events with him and just, meet other people, and like I like him. I really like him, but it doesn't have to. I don't have to meet him just by himself. I want to get a chance to go out somewhere and just see if I fit in,
And do you think maybe by going and doing that, you might even find other people that have had similar situations to yourself and therefore give you advice?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of we don't knows, aren't there? Until we try.
Yeah.
So we're getting out of the country. We're going to see our cousin. We're possibly bonding with your mother by going with your mother. And that being that stepping stone to see Reese, and also meeting people, going to those events that you seem quite excited about. Your eyes lit up a bit when you spoke about those events.
Yeah, because I only ever see stuff online. I never see anything in person.
So how are you feeling about that as a bit of an outline of a plan?
Yeah, I can think about that. Check it out.
That would also broaden your support network, wouldn't it? You make friends in there possibly that you can then keep in contact with when you come back home.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to other people online, but it's just not the same as having met them in person.
Yes. Of course. Well, that's sounding like a bit of a good strategy, a bit of as I said, those baby steps, and each step you take.
Yeah.
You can evaluate and work out how you feel and work out where you're going to go next.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Jonathan, Joseph, sorry, I wanted to bring up, it's a website, it's called 2010, and it specifically deals with young people. I think it's up to 25 years of age, around 16 or something like that, 25 years of age, and they offer free counselling via phone and also in person, specifically for gay and lesbian people. So I'm just wondering if that might be something you might be interested in looking at. I can go away and have a look at myself and bring back information. I can give you the information now. You check it out between, if you have another session, check it out. We talk more about
So they
that
just do
then.
counselling?
They do counselling, and they also do other information gathering. It's on the website. There's lots of information look on the website. So it's not like we'd be pushing you straight into counselling or something like that. But it's a resource to start with, and that's why I'm sort of mentioning it.
Just for gay and lesbian?
No, it covers a whole range of
Well, like LGBT.
Yeah, exactly.
All the letters.
LGBTQI plus.
Yeah.
Exactly. So not just gay and lesbian. Covers the whole range.
2010.
2010. That's what it is.
Just the numbers. 2010.
No, it's actually written down. I believe the 10 is numerical, and 20 is written out.
All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah. And I'll also, if you like, make a referral on my side, so that we can, if you do, when you come back, if you do want to go further, I can make sure that we've found you the right person and you're happy with them. That is, if you do want to come back and have a session, Joseph.
Look, I need to do something. Like I know Reese's heart's in the right place, sending me to you and stuff, but I just don't think just talking to somebody by itself is going to make any difference. I need to do something.
Yes.
I need to change something about my life so I don't feel so trapped.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. You need that experience, like you were talking about before, the experience of actually being around people.
Yeah.
Of
Not
similar.
just rednecks who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because cities are more open, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right on. So I'll come. When do I have to see you again?
Oh, only if you have to. Only if you want to. If you want to make a session, we can do the same time next week if that's fine by you.
Well, I'll go and check out this 2010 thing, and I'll suss out my cousin and talk to Reese, and
Okay.
then I'll ring you. Yeah.
Yep.
Or
Yeah. And
message
before,
you or something.
no worries. I'll and before you leave the office today, I'll write down the website for 2010 for you, and phone number.
Alright.
We might even have a quick look at it ourselves.
Righto.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just before you leave, Joseph, is there anything I've missed or anything you want to ask or anything else you want to talk about?
No, it's good to actually talk to somebody about it.
I'm glad. I'm very glad.
Yeah.
And just remember, the whole world doesn't judge. The small country towns can.
Yeah. Once you're out the end of the road, everything's different. But right here, it just feels like I'm swallowed up by narrow-minded bigots, you know.
I'll be very interested to hear how you found the website, and also when we get down the track, when you've actually been to one of those events.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
I think it will really open your world up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely speaking today, Joseph, and I really applaud your courage. I really do. You've been very open, and I think you're quite insightful. Very intelligent in the way you look at the world. There's just some bumps. You realise the bumps we've got to go over, and we will.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for coming in. Okay.